Eden, don't smile. Oh, no, you don't do it.
What are you having for breakfast?
Oh, what are we doing?
Honey buns?
Yeah.
Honey buns.
Here?
Dove got me this lemon pound cake. She went to a coffee shop this morning with Eden and grabbed this for me.
And
So excited.
Cammie offered me half of it, but I said I'd rather just judge her.
And I said, that's where you get your energy, and I get my energy eating this. Ben did say he'd have one bite, so I told him he needs to have this bite right here. That's the money bite. Right there, gotta get some of that icing. We're calling the kids down here. It's 10 a.m. on Friday. And in the past, this was always clean up for Shabbat or our rest day. And so I would still like some things to get cleaned up. And I think Ben would too, but I haven't asked him.
I don't care.
Oh, he doesn't care. But I care, and so I wanted to bring all the kids down here and ask them if they would help with that and how they would want to do that. First of all, I want to see how many people are interested in that, helping out with that. And then if you are interested in helping out with that, I'd like to get your input on how should we divvy out jobs. Is there anyone who does not want to help out with Shabbat cleanup? You guys, oh, he's like, I don't know.
Hey.
Oh yeah. Announcement.
Okay. Your mom and I wanted to celebrate two things. One is, you guys know we had a big payday at the end of the year. And you also know, well, I don't know if you know, but we really appreciated you guys watching the house and each other and holding down the fort while we were gone. So we wanted to do a special dinner tonight. So we wanted to take you guys. We have a reservation at 6:30 for the melting pot. Eden, don't smile. Oh, no, you don't do it. Don't give it away that easy. Oh, $200 and I get a smile out of her, just like that.
It takes more muscles to frown than
Hey, don't do that. That meeting went pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised at how many people wanted to just help out. That made me feel good. Felt better knowing that people just wanted to do it instead of just making them do it. But it was also hard having to share more my preferences and desires than just making it a rule. Because when you just make it a rule, you don't have to share that, really.
This whole no rules thing has been really kind of wild for us, and we've been getting a lot of comments on the videos. First of all, we want you guys to know that we do in fact read all the comments, and there's been a lot of supportive ones, and there's been some, like, I don't know, maybe some discouraging ones that I don't quite know how to handle.
Yeah, and then there's the ones where people are just trying to give advice, which is...
Those are almost the weirdest for me. You know, one thing that's helpful for us, just knowing that we read all the comments, I try to put myself in someone's shoes of like, oh, you know, I know what it's like to just leave comments and you don't really think, you just like type your thoughts out. But one thing that's weird about the internet is sometimes it's easy to type them as if there's not a human on the other side. what would be helpful for us is if you sign your name on the comment. That just lets us know you're a human. I know when I sign my name, it reminds me, like,
these are two humans talking
Yeah.
to each other instead of like a screen name.
we're not just a YouTube channel and a whatever. Off topic, but I have to comment on your beard. If Cammie loves you
Well, hold
clean
on.
shaven.
Okay, I didn't want to say this because I think I'm PMSing today, and that's really difficult for me to feel out of control of my emotions. And I think I didn't want to say that because I felt like that made me less than somehow. But that doesn't make me less than. Yeah, anyways, that's more me talking to myself than talking to you. I realize that, but
She was like, I don't think it'd be good for me to record comments today. I was like, oh yeah, we definitely should. We could use a little
I don't
fire.
have as much of a filter today.
Okay, off topic, but I have to comment on your beard. If Cammie loves you clean shaven from time to time, now would be a good time to do it. Now that your hair is short, I think the long scraggly beard looks out of place. I don't know how to say this and not sound sexist, but I don't generally take beard advice from women.
I don't think that is sexist because, like,
I'm just old school like that.
that'd be like women saying, I don't take period advice from men. It makes sense. Like, men don't have periods. Women don't generally have beards.
Okay, Alan Martin says, this is about the rule thing. I predict chaos. Yep. Yeah, I think that is a pretty
Safe assumption.
accurate
Especially
prediction.
when we're figuring stuff out. But it's like a different... chaos is like considered bad always, but I don't think it always is bad.
I think we believe in what lies on the other side of it.
Yeah.
That it's worthwhile to go through the chaos. I think I said this, but in case I didn't, a lot of these comments are about the first two vlogs, specifically with not having the rules anymore. I'm hoping that this new experiment in living will be a success in some way. I continue to support all of you, whatever happens. You know, what we've been wondering is, how do you define success? And I appreciate this comment, and I anticipate success no matter what. And the reason is because success for us means that we learn and we become, I don't want to say better parents because I don't like what that says, but
Better people, I think.
I don't even know what better means.
Yeah.
We become more aware and more humble.
Maybe more loving.
And more loving.
To each other.
Yes, I definitely think that.
I think that would be good.
So in that way, I think we will have success, and I hope at least. Mommy and daddy will eventually die. Kids need to learn responsibility in the home and then have jobs during high school years. I used to teach in the inner city. Good luck trying to run a classroom of 28 kids when they have come from homes with no responsibility.
I feel like this person is jumping very quickly to no responsibility, no expectations, when no rules doesn't necessarily mean that. Like, I don't think he understood at all, like, what we're trying to do, but, which is fine. Like, he doesn't know us, and we haven't really, like, unless you've been following us for several years, or you have some crazy intuition, you probably wouldn't know, like, what's going on. But this is quite the jump.
Sorry, I need to turn off the furnace that just got loud here. But this sentiment is a theme that the kids are not going to learn responsibility. And part of the reason why we're going into this challenge is because we think that there's a lot of ways to learn responsibility and to teach responsibility, and rules are just the easiest go-to way.
Well, and it's actually like the higher level of responsibility. If you always just have rules in place, kids don't learn that. And that means like, oh, I have responsibility to love this person well. But instead of just, I have responsibility just to follow the rules and make sure I dot every line and check every box. I mean, that's good to learn that, but I think a better human being learns beyond that. Their motivation isn't just to check every box. Well, it's to actually do good work, love people, love themselves.
So another way of saying that is responsibility is like step one in terms of what we teach with our kids in parenting. Mm-hmm. But there's like steps 2, 3, 4, and 5, which like for us, what makes a good husband for me to be to Cammie, I can't just be like, I'm responsible. Like, okay, that's nice that I do what I say I'm going to do, but she wants more than that, and I want to give more than that. I want to give my heart to her, But rules don't teach that. Like, that takes something else. And with our kids, we feel the same way. Where, okay, you teach them, like, okay, if you don't brush your teeth fall out. Great. What else? Is that like all of life? There are always rules or laws we must follow in life. Otherwise, we would be living in the Wild West. I don't think the Wild West is all bad. But
I'm sure there was pros and cons.
we are not teaching our kids that rules and laws are not important. As kind of the older people in the house, we are wanting to learn if there aren't more advanced ways to exist in relationship beyond rules and laws. And to do that, we had to get rid of the rules and laws, at least within our house. But when we take our kids outside to other places, I think it's important to teach your child, here's the rules and the laws of this person's house, and if you don't follow that rule or law, they probably won't like you, or they probably won't invite you back, or you could go to jail, or whatever.
I really love this experiment. I know it's early on, but it seems as if it's teaching Ben and Cammie just as much as it's teaching the kids. Ben, your confession about having to put your control in check a bit when it came to Eden's mind changing was really interesting.
I think she hit the nail on the head. In our philosophy of parenting, we haven't talked a lot about it here, but I think the best parents are those that parent out of self-interest. It sounds kind of weird to say that, and it sounds selfish, but I guess it is. But if you're parenting because you're always trying to give or to treat your child essentially as they're an object that's worthy of your receiving your expertise, your blessing, your awesomeness, I don't really think that works out very well,
and
actually.
underneath all that is self-interest.
It's selfish anyways, yeah. So I think if we're just honest and say, kids are so cool, and I'm so glad we have them. And I want to receive and learn and grow as an adult. I think that's actually the best way to parent anyways. So I do plan on being the primary benefactor of this and just learning and being loved and growing and showing that to my kids even. I think you're confusing no rules with no responsibility. You'll need to determine what you think are rules and what are responsibilities. Also, the 3 younger ones are too young for no rules. Kids that age really need continuity and structure to feel safe.
I've thought about that second thing where he talks about the younger kids needing something different than the older kids. And that makes sense to me. And I think we feel that, but I think even with the younger kids, we're changing stuff.
I think continuity and structure can come from different places other than rules. I mean, we have a house, and our kids always wake up in the same house, unless we're hiking. And there's also, like, Rainier, who's 2, has 7 relationships around him all the time. And those relationships create a certain degree of structure just naturally. I mean, like, if we're like, hey, there's no rule not to hit, that doesn't mean he can go hit everyone. I mean, if he hits people, like, they could hit him back, or they'll, like, tell him don't. So there's, like, kind of like natural rules and laws that automatically blossom up. So just because you do away with a rule written on a wall doesn't mean people don't have preferences. Mm-hmm. There's something else I want to mention here. It's kind of this attitude that I'm sensing where it says, kids need continuity and structure to feel safe. And I don't know, it's not so true in this comment, I guess, but there's other comments where people are making these like absolute universal statements about what people need and what families need. And I guess I would say maybe you're right, but maybe you're wrong. And if you're wrong, I think having an attitude that's so confident can actually be dangerous. And we found in relationships, like, the easiest way to kill a conversation is to make an absolute statement. Like, the floor needs to be swept. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, that's a way of, like, as if I hold the corner on, like, science or religion or something, and I know this thing. Like, it's actually better to say, I would like it if the floor is swept. Nothing needs to happen. Mm-hmm. And the other way we can actually, like, talk about, and it's a way of making a human connection instead of, like, appealing to some absolute rule that actually doesn't exist.
This one's funny. I don't see this lasting too long. You guys are way too much control freaks and depend on your kids to do what you tell them with no questions asked. You pin on your kids to do what you tell them with no questions asked when you need them to or want them to do something you don't want or like to do, such as taking care of younger siblings. It's like she lives in our house.
But wait, she apologizes.
Oh, okay.
If she's wrong.
Okay, I apologize if I'm wrong, but you will find a way to sneak back rules in a different way so that you can still say you have no rules, LOL. Having rules that are so strict that there is no flexibility is not good, but everyone needs enough rules in order to have some guidance. And none of my comment is meant in a negative way. Okay, this is cool. I like you guys. I'm just curious to see how this all plays out and how... It's interesting because I feel like she's reacting to something like really strongly, and then she kind of like...
she's like, JK.
Backs off. Which actually I appreciate because I actually feel like this is very genuine in the sense of like... She's kind of showing you her cards, like what she really believes, but then she also likes us, and I actually believe her. You know, so it's like two conflicting things happening.
Rules are necessary when you have children. You still have little ones. It's called parenting.
Really? Wow, I've been parenting for 17 years, and I didn't realize I was parenting.
This person...
That's pretty condescending.
Yeah. I don't see that method of communication like working out very well. It's called relationships.
Very interesting. I'm curious to see how this works. I have to be honest, I kind of felt like you guys were pretty strict with the kids, but I also see very well-behaved kids as well, which is a rare thing these days. Look forward to watching your family again this year. Yeah.
I think we are very strict. And we were, especially when we thought it was best for our kids. And I'm not saying we were right about that. That's just what we thought. But you know, you don't hike the Appalachian Trail by waking up every day and be like, maybe we'll do whatever we want. Our lifestyle has demanded strictness. I mean, we chose it. But it's kind of, I would say, probably why we're doing this, actually. In terms of well-behaved kids, that's not really our goal. And I think that is a byproduct of strictness. And we've had to decide that we're willing to give up well-behaved kids. I mean, well-behaved by whose definition? I guess that's the question. Because, like, well-behaved is getting them to do whatever we want to do. Or whoever wants them to do. You know, and there's just this story from this book that we're reading where this guy on an airplane, after the airplane flight, he looks over the 2-year-old and says, "Oh, he's such a good child." And what he meant by that was
You're not bothering me.
He's quiet. Yeah, and he left me the hell alone.
Yeah.
Does that make him good? Or does that just make him like subservient and what I like? And with our kids, well-behaved is more convenient for sure. And there's probably a time and a place for it. But I think there's something bigger and better beyond that, which is for our kids to be who we think God made them to be and how they're unique and special and different, not who we want them to be.
What about rules like lying or respect for parents? Are your kids now allowed to lie without consequence? Are you abandoning the commandments of the Bible as well? I feel like these are loaded questions. Like, if we were doing that, shame on us.
I mean, like, what about lying or respect? Like, we don't have rules for that anymore.
I think you actually can't have a rule to not lie. You can have a rule that if you're caught,
what do you mean? You can have a
happens.
rule that's no lying.
Yeah, I guess that's... I'm just saying you can't make someone not lie.
That's true. You can't enforce... I mean...
You can't make kids respect you either.
You can try, though. And I think that's what... I think that's what this model of parenting, especially with these religious undertones, it assumes that because you have a rule, people follow it. And our experience with that is, not only does it not help, but it makes the actual breaking of the rules go underground. So everyone is disrespect. I mean, I might respect you to your face, but what do I think about you in my heart? That's what we'll never know if that rule exists. So for us right now, it's just better to say, hey, there is no rule. You don't have to respect me. And let's see what happens. Like, I'd rather find out if my kids don't respect me and have a chance to earn their respect.
Yeah, I feel like that actually would be showing me that I'm not comfortable with saying I'm doing something wrong, but that I could be doing something better than I am if they don't respect me. Maybe I'm not respecting them, you know? Maybe that's why they don't respect me.
Plus, there's always consequences. Just because you don't have rules, it's just not like artificial consequences. I mean, if my kid's always lying to me, I'm going to stop trusting them. And then it would be nice to have a conversation where I say, hey, when you lie to me, it keeps me from being able to trust you. And I want to be able to trust you, and I want to be close to you. And when I have a rule that's just like no lying, then it's easy to just wag that over a kid.
And a lot of times when people lie, it's because they don't trust that person with the truth. And if I'm not trustworthy with their truth, you know, I want to know that. I want to become trustworthy to them. And I know that's not the only reason why people lie, but I think that's a big reason why people lie. Hi, I had a thought about the no rules for 2019. When you explained what you were doing, I was kind of confused. For me personally, rules are completely different than chores. Chores are something you do, rules are something you have to follow. Since Cammie is feeling stressed about organization and who is doing what, why not keep the chores, stuff to do, and still eliminate the rules? People in general like some form of structure and guidelines. Lack of rules allow the kids to make their own decisions about time, preferences, and making their own structure, which seems reasonable but scary. Chores are what make an organization family function like a well-oiled machine. I appreciate her comment because I bet a lot of people have these thoughts of like, why are you throwing the baby out with the bathwater? Why do you have to completely scrap it all? And
like with the chores.
And I think because the chores were so linked to rules for us, it wasn't two separate things.
The way our chores worked was we would come up with a list of chores and assignments and schedule as to when they're done. And we would tell the kids, you need to do this. And it was all based on responsibility and teamwork and the house running smooth. So what we're wondering is, like, the primary motivation behind all those chores was obedience to parents. It was just obedience and submission and authority. And
you're going to do these chores this way, this time.
Or else.
Yeah. Because she talks about it's good to have their kids make own decisions about time, preferences, and own structure. And I think that's what we want with chores, too. We see it all as part of that. And, like, today, like, stuff still got done, and I wasn't the only one who did it either. But I had to take in consideration their preferences, when they wanted to do it, the way they wanted to do it.
So it's allowing them into the process, the kids into the process about how we even decide about chores and structure and schedule, which feels really chaotic at first. But I think in the long run, we're going to learn a lot more and allow our kids to learn about themselves.
Yeah.
You know, it was crazy. Like, we were supposed to run yesterday and we didn't. And this morning it was like 25 degrees and we woke up and Dub and Eden were gone. They had like went on a 3-mile run, just the two of them.
Yeah.
This morning. It's like,
you do that. You go do that.
But a lot of times, you know, they don't want to run because we're making them. Mm-hmm. And I think the chores take on a similar thing where they do them because we essentially force them to. And now I sense our kids are asking different questions. They're like, what are the benefits of me doing chores or not? And I want them to wrestle with those questions because when they leave our house or when no one's watching them, that's more the real life test, I think, than are you going to get caught or is the consequence high enough? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for the comments. We read all of them, and we love to hear, like, how these videos... The best comment for me, honestly, is I love to hear how these videos are impacting you and your thoughts and your home life. Are they making you angry? Are they making you excited? Are they challenging you to think in a different way or have a different conversation with your partner?
Because we definitely don't expect and don't even want everyone who's commenting to say, oh, I completely agree with you.
We're going to start no rules, too.
But it you know, I think it's nice. It opens the most conversation if someone shares from their own experience and then understands that we also have our own experience. And then there can be a dialogue there between the two.
I think you did great.
Thanks. I behaved myself.
All right, let's go. it is 6 o'clock and it is time to go. Basically, at this point, I am going through hundreds of these tiny little clips and trying to make sure that the audio levels are all right and that there's no spelling errors on anything. And this just shows you I mean, all these lists are just like checklists of little clips we decided to add. I mean, there's not hundreds of them, but hundreds of items at least. You know, this is all narration. I mean, it's just crazy, but it's time for dinner. It's time for Shabbat. I was hoping to get done by now, but I'm only 19 minutes in. It took me an hour to get 19 minutes. So I guess it's gonna have to wait. Dude, that beer hit me hard. This is our, whoa. This is the beginning of our rest day. We call it Shabbat, which just means rest in Hebrew, or Sabbath, some people call it. But this is a day that we've held pretty sacred for a while now, and it's just a day where we just like stop working, which for me, especially with this documentary that we've been working on, it's just like there's always more work to be done. There's always another edit. There's always another clip that I could stick in, or another audio level to check. There's always one more thing, and I would like never stop naturally. And for me, this rest, it kind of like says stop and take a look at what you've done and the things you even haven't done, and just say it's good enough. And our value doesn't come from any work that we do or bad things that we don't do. It just comes from who we are, and we believe God loves us just the way we are. So this is a very, very practical reminder for us. So we celebrate it and we're excited about it, but it's hard sometimes because I would rather be working on the documentary in a way. All right, well, we'll see you guys on Monday. Shabbat Shalom.
I want